What up, YouTube? So it's the end of the year. I thought I would do my top 10 releases of 2019, but I couldn't decide on 10, so I figured I'd go top 15 of 2019. There's like a wide range of a bunch of stuff that I grabbed this year. Some obviously didn't make the cut, but these are my favorite releases from the year. So to start, there is the Arrow Video Robocop Steelbook, which is still unopened because I have Robocop on Blu-ray. I just wanted the Steelbook. This one has some really cool special features, like disc 1 has the director's cut, disc 2 has the theatrical, and there's also on disc 2 the split screen comparisons between the director's cut and theatrical cut, and the theatrical cut and edited for TV version, because there is also the edited version on this release. So coming in at number 15, Robocop from Arrow Video. And then 14 is the Angel Collection box set from Vinegar Syndrome. This is a very cool release. All 3 of the original Angel films, Angel, Avenging Angel, and Angel 3, the final chapter. Great release, really cool hard box. There's a better look of it on my Vinegar Syndrome, the last video I posted, but yeah, number 14. Then number 13, Beatrice Cenci, the Lucio Fulci film I never thought would come out, but thanks to 88 Films, we got this really cool release. So this is a Lucio Fulci film from 1969 starring Thomas Millian. This was a Kickstarter, so if you put in money, it was this one, and then I believe it was 11 Nights with Emily. I believe that's what it's called, 11 yeah. And they both came with slipcovers, and there's on this, which is really cool, is a thank you portion for all the people that put money in for the Kickstarter. So my name's actually on both Blu-rays, which is really cool. So yeah, I'm a big Lucio Fulci fan, and I never thought this film would ever get released, and now we have a really nice version, part of the Italian collection from 88 Films. So, and then next, I wasn't actually gonna add this into the list, but the release itself is really cool, so I thought I would. I'm just like not a big fan of the release, but I'll explain kind of more, but it's the Showa Godzilla box set from Criterion, or collection from Criterion. Quite a big release, if I can get the whole thing. The 1000th Spine. And this has, almost dropped it. This has the first 15 Godzilla films. So Godzilla, Godzilla Raids Again, King Kong vs. Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, Invasion of Astro Monster, Ibara, Horror of the Deep, Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters Attack, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and Terror of Mechagodzilla. But the reason that I'm not a fan of this release is the transfers are awful. There was these old Godzilla releases that had come out. Kraken had put them out in these green cases, and the transfers on these leagues ahead of Criterion's transfers, which is a shame because Criterion's supposed to be this like company that prides itself on film preservation and releasing the like best quality versions of films, but yet the versions on this release are like not very good, like barely acceptable for Blu-ray. There's also other stuff, glaring stuff about this release, like they had said King Kong vs. Godzilla would have both American and then Japanese releases. And King Kong vs. Godzilla has the American release. And then on the bonus disc, there is the SD Laserdisc transfer of the Japanese version, which I think is utter garbage. Like Criterion, that's probably the worst thing I've ever seen you do for a release. Aside from the original Gojira release that Criterion had put out, which was just, in my opinion, one of the worst things ever. But also, not a big, problem for me, because I love watching all the Godzilla films in Japanese with English subtitles, but there's hardly any original, like, American dubs on this, which is kind of weird that Criterion would not release. It was like they were blaming Toho, saying that these are just the, the versions that Toho had sent them and supplied them, but it's Criterion. Like, you should have waited then instead of rushing it and putting it out. I hear all these people complaining about, oh, the book is too big and I don't like the artwork and stuff, and I'm like, who cares? I think it's a great presentation outside. The films themselves, the presentation is awful. That's what people should be complaining about, not the book. Like, it's this cool release. And the reason that it's in my top 15 is because this is the first time ever that the Showa Godzilla series has ever been collected in its entirety, like in one place. Originally you had to get those classic media releases, and there was like one or a few of them that you could get, and they were really cool, but they were DVD. So this way it's like the whole thing, one collection, Blu-ray, but the transfers aren't very good. There's hardly any dubs for people who watch the dubs, and the King Kong vs. Godzilla Laserdisc SD scan is a fucking travesty. So I'm sorry, Criterion. You lost me when you released Breakfast Club, and then I came back to get this Godzilla box set, and I probably will never buy another Criterion release again. Like, it's one of the worst companies, in my opinion. I think they're overpriced and they're putting out shit. So thanks, Criterion, for releasing that, but also you're not going to get any more money from me. So after that rant, I'll go on to the next release, which is Assassinat, directed by Drew Balduke, who did Science Team and The Taint. This is a really fun little sci-fi romp with these young kids stuck on this alien planet, starring Vito Trigo from Return to Nukem High. This is just a great film. It should be in everyone's collection. Just a fun, and it's not as like gruesome or as hard as some of his other films, but it's definitely a great watch. I got to hang out with Drew while he was here, and we showed this film, and I got to do a Q&A with him and everything. So also I would have put Red Letter Day, which was also released by Epic and Dread, who released Assassinat. Let's see if it says, yeah, Dread and Epic, who released Assassinat, but I didn't get a copy because the Canadian one isn't actually available yet. But Red Letter Day, I have to give a shout out because my good friends worked on it. Cam, Rhett, Trev, everybody, Cam, who directed it, was one of my best friends, and I also have a little cameo in the film. So Red Letter Day would be in my list for sure if I had gotten a Canadian copy, but it's not available yet. So you can pick it up in America. Red Letter Day, I highly suggest you pick it up. It's a great little thriller, Canadian. But yeah, speaking of Canadian, next on the list is Divorced Dad, by the Astron 6 guys. I already did an extensive review on this, so I'm not going to go too far into it, but Astron 6 Divorced Dad, great release. And next, another Vinegar Syndrome, we have Night Beast, Don Dohler classic, originally released by Troma. Great slipcover, just one of the best releases of the year, in my opinion. One of the best films. It's so cheesy. I love this movie. And then I've already done an extensive, I think I've talked about this film or this release twice, but it's still in my top releases. So All the Colors of the Dark box set from Severin. All the Colors of the Dark, All the Colors of Giallo. Yeah, not much more I can say about this one that hasn't already been said. Great release. Also from Severin, and I've talked about this one as well, so I'm not going to go too far into it, but Killer Croc and Killer Croc 2. Probably my favorite Severin release to date. Still waiting on my Severin Black Friday package to arrive, but I doubt anything is going to knock this one out of my top favorite Severin releases, because it's just Killer Croc 1 is one of the best Italian ripoff films I've ever seen. And then another Vinegar Syndrome, There's Nothing Out There. Great old trauma romp, sci-fi kind of alien slasher-esque type film, very meta, very awesome. I think everyone should own a copy of There's Nothing Out There. It's just a fun movie if you like movies and if you like cheesy, schlocky, like horror movies. So, and then tough ones, obviously Grindhouse, you know, they put tons of effort into their releases. This thing is just chock full of great supplemental stuff, you know, like just like all their releases though. And it's a really good movie too. I own a 35mm print of this, and we're gonna show it at Globe Cinema in January. So yeah, Umberto Lenzi's The Tough Ones. I believe this is the final 4. So, Mill Creek has been killing it this year. Their releases are top notch. Some of the best stuff that's come out in the past 10 years. Way too much stuff for me to choose, but I had to. So I've chosen my favorite from all the Mill Creek releases from this year, and that would be the Ultra 7 Steelbook. Ultra 7 is one of my favorite Ultraman series, and this Steelbook is just absolutely incredible. All their Steelbooks so far have been incredible, starting with Mothra and going through, for Tokusatsu, Mothra, Ultra Q, Ultraman, Ultra 7, but all their Ultraman releases are great. All their Andy Sidaris films have been great. Like, Mill Creek's just killing it this year. So, Ultra 7 and Mill Creek, thank you for releasing these. I'm such a big fan. All right, now the top 3 releases. So we have, I just don't want these movies to fall. Okay, so we have from Vinegar Syndrome, the Amityville Cursed Collection box set. This is easily one of the best releases of the year. I went through all the films, and all but Dollhouse are incredible. Every one of these is worth watching. If it'll focus. Yeah, so Evil Escapes, It's About Time, New Generation, all good. Great films. Dollhouse, not so much, but the first 3, fantastic. This is such an incredible release. Vinegar Syndrome just killed it with this one. So yeah, this is easily one of the top releases of the year. And it should definitely be in everyone's collection. And then my second favorite release of the year, Return to Nukem High, aka Volume 2, directed by Lloyd Kaufman. This was it. This was Volume 2. We waited 7 years for this to come out, and it does not disappoint, this release. It is chock full of just great trauma goodness. There's the 2 discs. First disc is the feature, second disc is a feature-length documentary, 2 Girls, 1 Duck, plus a ton of special features like short films, introductions, behind the scenes. It's just full of tons of great stuff. 2 discs. We were waiting a really long time, but this film was definitely worth the wait. We got to show it here for a run when it came out a couple of years ago, actually. And then we patiently waited for the Blu-ray, and now it's here, and all the trauma fans out there can watch parts 1 and 2 together, complete the magnum opus, Lloyd Kaufman. Thank you, Trauma. And yeah, and now my number 1 release. This is not just my favorite release of the year, but also my favorite film of the year. Probably my favorite film of the last 10 years. This is Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I got the Ultra 4K blah 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 piece of crap, but Blu-ray and digital. The reason I got this one, because normally I wouldn't buy a 4K release, but I got it because it came with a 45 soundtrack. It's the gatefold cover, comes with a poster, which was rolled up in a tube, and Mad Magazine. Plus there's 7 additional scenes, which is I believe 26 minutes. All this behind the scenes stuff, which is absolutely fantastic. This is without a doubt the best film of the year. I got to see it twice at Globe when we showed it for the Ghostbusters cast and crew back in July. And now I've watched it since I've got this release, and I've watched all the behind the scenes stuff. This is still my favorite film of easily the past 10 years, and probably my second favorite of the Quentin Tarantino movies. But the more I watch it, the more I love it. So yeah, those were my top releases of the year. Sorry for the janky ass weird video, but I thought I would get one more out before the year ended, and then hopefully my Severin package arrives soon and I can do Severin Black Friday video. So I want to wish everyone a happy new year. This video comes out on Lloyd Kaufman's birthday, so happy birthday, Lloyd. And yeah, I'll see everyone in 2020. Thanks for watching.